This is Off Trail with Luke and Chandler. I'm Luke.
I am Chandler.
And once again, like always, we're off trail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is going to be a fun episode.
Oh, yeah.
We needed to do this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We have the time to do it now. So better now than never.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So today's episode, we talk a lot about photos, and we're going to finally critique each other's photos, like publicly.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be fun. And for everyone out there listening and watching at home, I do this all the time.
Yeah,
And I rarely have a nice thing to say.
No, you're brutal.
That's most of that time is in jest. I hate to admit. But today, we have a special, I guess, a unique setup of what we're going to do. So we both chose 3 photos of each other's. We chose one photo that we thought was really good, like excellent, can't be beaten.
10 out of 10.
Like one of our best photos.
Yep.
We chose one photo that is mid-level. That is one that we think is almost there. There's some things you can change about, but there's also some good things.
Mm-hmm.
And we chose a bad one.
Real bad one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Some of the worst.
one that we might just rip apart.
Yeah.
And
Which we're going to shred these ones.
Yeah.
So.
And the funny thing is too, while we chose bad ones for each other, we also feel the same way about our own bad ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the one you picked of mine, I also hate.
Yeah.
I think I hate the one that you picked of mine more than I dislike the ones that I picked of yours.
yeah. I mean, my photos are generally better. But
I mean, that's arguable.
But moving on. But yeah, so we're going to start with the bad ones. And we're going to work our way up to what good photos look like.
Yeah.
And so we flipped a lens cap to start, and Chandler won.
I picked the Canon side.
So he's going to critique my bad photo first. And we have all our photos on my iPad here.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to show the camera, but we'll also put it on screen so you can see it.
Yeah.
And as we talk about it, we'll make sure it's up so you can kind of follow along with what we're looking at here. So, Chandler, what are we starting with here?
Okay. So the worst photo that I found on your page.
And quick clarifier too, these are photos we've posted on Instagram.
Yeah, these are, yeah.
Yeah, these aren't ones we're sitting on. We have posted these already.
Yeah. So everybody else's eyes had to be needled by these awful images.
Yeah, and go rip them apart on Instagram.
Yeah.
Please do
Go
it.
comment. Tell them they're bad. Yeah. In fact, just go to Luke's page and
All of mine are bad.
tell him all of them are bad.
Just
Yeah.
let me hear it.
Yeah.
Let me have it. I can take it.
He can take. He's tough. Okay. So the first photo, what I think is probably Luke Furman's worst photo to be posted on Instagram, is this photo from going out. When did you out? May?
Yeah, I think it's May. Yep.
May? Yeah. You went storm chasing.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Out in the Midwest. Where was this photo taken?
That was South Dakota.
South Dakota. So this, I don't know if the camera's going to really pick it up.
Yeah.
This is the photo. We probably can put it on the screen.
Oh, it'll be on screen. Yeah.
But this is the photo. It's a cool little storm system up here. And then you got a
little field
of
crops. I don't know exactly what it is.
I don't know, dead
forget.
grass.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a great photo.
Yeah.
I think it's a 2 out of 10. The reason I think it's a 2 out of 10 and not a 0 is because I like the edit on it. Like the colors are pleasing to look at.
I appreciate that.
But there's nothing here. It's a dead field. The clouds they're kind of cool, but there's nothing interesting in them really. There's not a tornado. There's not like some, they're not illuminated with any kind of sun or anything like that. You have water spots on your lens. There's a couple spots here.
Well, it was raining.
So, yeah. So you got a couple of those. And there's really not much substance to this photo. And that's generally how I another reason I give this a 2 out of 10 and not a 0 is because it's better than most storm photos I see. Because most storm photos,
I'd like to interject really quick.
yeah,
It is not better than most. There is one aspect that we like.
yes, this is true.
That is better
Yes.
than most because
Yes.
it is still not a great photo at all.
Yes,
But there is a certain aspect that we like that is better than a lot of storm photos we see.
yes. Thank you.
Just to be fair to
Yes.
all the other storm chasers and photos that we see.
Yes, because a tornado photo is still better than this photo.
Yes, absolutely.
But what I think that this photo does better than some other storm chasing photos is you don't cut all the foreground out. You still have some foreground in there. You still have something to ground your eye. You know, you're not actually left, you know, I'm saying, you know, I'm going to say you left off wandering into the sky. And I'm using that term not because it's just a photo of the sky, but, you know, you're not left wandering through the image. But yeah, you actually have something that grounds you in this photo. So I think that's something, you know, like you said, that's one aspect about this photo that I think other storm photos lack. But other than that, there's not much to this photo. So
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with everything you said.
yeah,
You know, and not that it's an excuse or a reason, but the only reason that photo was posted was because I had this little set of storm photos that I was doing.
cool set.
And I needed one more photo, and that was literally all I had left.
Yeah,
So that's the only reason I made it in there.
yeah,
Otherwise, it would not have made it to my page because I mean, I knew when I posted it, this is not a great photo. I was like, this is the worst one of the set. I'm literally just using it, so I have 9.
yeah,
You know, I wanted a 9th one for whatever reason, and only reason it made it. But everything you said, I agree with. You know, the clouds look a little gnarly, and it was getting that way when we were out. The foreground is uninteresting.
yeah.
You know, I mean, there's not much to it.
I feel like it's a good example of like what
What the Midwest looks like.
well, of that, but also of like what the rule of thirds should look like. You know,
Yeah, it does.
but that's
fit
like
that.
it fits like that
Yes.
as like a perfect example,
Right.
But
And that is like the one thing that works with it is like it, I guess it goes with the rules of photography.
yes, yeah,
I'm not saying you should always follow them, but it's still what makes it somewhat of a pleasing photo in a way.
yes, yep,
Like you don't, you know, it's not like hard to look at. It's just uninteresting because there's nothing.
well, like I said, having that foreground, you know, it keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So like there are parts of it that work, but like generally it's just not, it's not a great photo.
yeah,
And you know, it's one of those things like you mentioned, having the foreground is nice. And a lot of storm photos, they do cut off a lot of the foreground. And so it's just a sliver of ground and all sky. And I think it's just the reason why like you and I might prefer this is because, well, yes, like a storm obviously is up in the sky. And a lot of the most interesting aspects about it are up there. And, you know, you get lightning that comes down, which is really cool. But like when you cut off the foreground like that, it almost ruins the scene a little bit. And like, I'd rather see more of the entire scene for what it is, as opposed to just the sky.
yeah,
You know, if you were truly underneath the storm, which I don't recommend, and looking straight up at it, it's one thing, obviously, because you can't really get the foreground. But when you're out there, it's, you know, it's just you want something that like gives you an aspect of like depth and scale, and not just, you know, a tiny little sliver of grass or trees or whatever it is.
exactly. And yeah, there's an argument about like there's not much in the Midwest.
No, there's not.
You know,
And-
most of it looks like
and,
this.
and that's why this sucks. It's because
the Midwest
is-
kind of sucks.
there's not much to put in your
Yeah.
foreground. I mean, I remember going out there with Paige, and you know, it's like, oh, you're trying to take note of like, oh, there's a barn over here, there's a truck, like whatever. Like you're taking notes of certain things that maybe you could put in the foreground, and it's hard.
Yeah, it doesn't always line up.
But like, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't feel like that's an excuse to not have the foreground in it.
Yes, yep,
You know?
I agree. And this photo, honestly, like part of the problem with this photo is just that there's no subject of interest. You know,
Yeah.
if there was a tornado or if there was something in here,
Lightning, anything.
anything, then it would be much better.
Absolutely.
So-
a more defined cloud structure
Exactly.
would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's not much in it, and you know, I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
I let you down.
You did. I when you posted this, I cried
Yeah,
because
well,
I was so sad about it.
I didn't because I really don't care. But all right, have we said everything we want to say about this one?
Oh, I was gonna ask, what was over here when you took the photo?
Light.
Like, was there just no clouds, or because it looks like the highlights are just blown
well,
out right there? But
You know,
they
I'm
may have
trying to
been.
remember. I don't remember what direction we were looking. I don't know if that's where the sun was or what. But you know, it was still relatively early in the day, It wasn't like, the sun hadn't set.
Yeah.
So like the sky was still bright.
Gotcha.
But the clouds, cover everything. And so like that is just looking through the bottom section of clouds to
Just
where
that
there
break.
was nothing. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's the
Okay.
break. So
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just looks possibly blown out, but
well, it very well could have been
maybe.
because I'm a terrible photographer.
I'd say you also have water spots. So
All right. Well, I can't help that. It was raining. So we're going to move on. I'm going to find,
to be fair, it was raining in my worst photo too.
well, I don't care as much now. So we're going to move on to what I think was a bad photo from you. And I don't know when exactly this was taken. Doesn't really matter for what we do, but I guess for all intents and purposes, it was taken before I would say you got really good. Like there's a point, I don't know exactly what the point is, but like there's a point like you definitely change in what you're doing, and this was before that. So
I don't know what point you're talking about, but
I don't know exactly when it is, but like there's just a shift in how you edited and everything, whatever. But like this was before that. So the photo is here, if you can see it on camera. If not, we will also have it on screen. It is a shot of Chandler, I assume down in Moab somewhere, overlooking a river that cuts through the canyons. And, that whole area is very cool.
yeah.
I mean, it's just an incredible looking area. The first thing that I'm going to say about this photo, and frankly, it's a comment that we say a lot about photos. I don't know why you need to be in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I mean, before all that, like I think the photo is generally just kind of uninteresting, given what I know about that area. But like, this just feels like an Instagram photo.
Yes, and
It's
that's
like-
all it is.
Yeah, it's just, hey, I'm in a pretty cool place. I'm going to put myself in that photo, and
This-
it's going to get a bunch of likes.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, I got to be careful what I say here.
Let's hear it, man.
But this is like, I feel like this is maybe, I'm trying to think how to word this.
Ah,
Yeah. But I feel like this is maybe just prime example of, social media. Look at me. I'm the coolest
Yeah.
influencer kind of, thing. Like I don't know why I guess I kind of know why I took this photo. I had seen it on other pages before, and I thought that like this is a photo looked really cool. But I had also seen this when it was in different like conditions. I
Yeah.
think honestly, if I had taken this photo at either sunrise or probably sunrise actually, just because of the way that this is facing. And I think if there had been some interest in the sky instead of just, gray overcast, I think it could make for a much better image. But I think doing that and then removing myself, I think that that improves the photo drastically. So, because I like the river in it. Like there's some structure there.
yeah. So
But-
let me tear this to shreds.
'Kay.
It's my turn to.
Shred it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the sky was something I was going to mention too. I mean, and it's not to say that you need a good sky for a photo, because you don't.
Yeah,
you
no,
can have
yeah.
a great photo without a sky.
Absolutely.
But having no great sky in this one doesn't help. It's just the way it is. I don't know if it's the edit or the way the light's hitting or whatever, but I think there's also a couple spots here on the left and then up here on the right as well, where it looks like abnormally dark, like you did go in and darken that. Again, I don't know if that's edit or just natural conditions or whatever, but like that, I don't know, kind of takes away a little bit from it for me.
Do you want to know the answer?
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
you edited.
I did some dodging and burning.
Yeah,
So
I figured that's what it was, because like it just seems like it's unnatural here when there's all this light. But that's just one thing that like as you do more, like you learn what looks good and what doesn't, and like when I look at it, that's one of the first things that stands out to me. It's like, oh, that looks like it's clearly edited, and I don't know why that's darker when the things around it are not.
yeah.
And there's obviously a good way to do dodging and burning and a bad way. And this, I think, is just not thoughtfully done. It's just
Yes.
like, oh, I'm going to darken this area.
Yep.
Like you could do a better job of it.
Exactly. Yep. I
but-
think this photo actually was probably one of the first times that I had ever really gone in and done selective dodging and burning.
Yeah.
This was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it shows.
yeah.
But I think generally the main point, and I'll be honest, this is more so one of my gripes with a lot of photos, is the fact that this is just an Instagrammy photo.
Yeah.
I don't like those photos.
Yep.
I think they can be well done.
They can be very well done. I've seen some,
absolutely.
and it's not the fact that there's a person in the photo. That's not what makes it bad.
But like my question, when I guess when I see photos like this, is like, would this photo be better without the person?
This photo would be.
And I think it would be. And I think you could actually maybe reshoot it slightly differently, then make it even better. So like I think there's potential here.
Because I think it depends on, I don't know. It's tricky because like I've seen, you have to be really good at it. Like this photo where it's somebody, they're placed in the perfect spot, and they're overlooking a scene, and it's all dramatic and stuff, and it's look how cool I am kind of thing. Like that I don't like. But I've seen some photos of, like adventure photography, where there's people in a cool scene, and it's phenomenal. But it's a different kind. It feels different. So it's
the feel of this photo is just not there.
Yeah, this feels like a influencery photo.
It feels like the person is forced in the photo, and on its own, it could have been a good landscape shot, but
yes,
it doesn't have the right feel for that Instagrammy type of shot. There's also another point, and I don't know exactly where this spot is, but this left side here where the river is coming off screen, or out of frame, like that part of the photo, honestly, just like leaves me wanting to know what was there, and like I'd like to see that and not this.
Yeah.
Because this kind of thing makes me think of, say, a place like Horseshoe Bend, where, and because it's in the Moab area, it may very well be like a little horseshoe bend as well. But it makes me think of the photos I see like of Horseshoe Bend where
Dead Horse Point.
Or Dead Horse, where it's just half of like the bend.
Do you know what's funny? Because I do have a counter argument to that, because I cut that off on purpose.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing interesting over there.
But like that's
why I think that's
why I think like part of me doesn't like this, because like I want to know it's there. Now you're telling me there's nothing there. It's like, well, now I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Like, I like this photo less.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that then we get kind of into the argument of like, what is our job as a photographer, the landscape photographer?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to hide the things that are, ugly or like not as photogenic. And that's, that is maybe an argument for this photo, for the way that I took it, was because over here is just not interesting. But I do want to also, you correctly named this spot, because you go around here, and that's Dead Horse Point.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. It's right in that area.
Huh.
So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got a good eye.
All right. Well, hey, I did.
It's like you live here now.
Yeah, I've moved on from the cornfields.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a mid-level photo now.
Yes.
So this is one that, like I said earlier, has some good things and has some bad things. So like there's potential in the photo.
Yes.
And it's not one that like we're like, oh, I shouldn't have posted this one. It's like, it's fine to post, but it's not, the best stuff.
Yeah.
So there's some room to play and some room to trash it a bit. So we're going to go through these now. Chandler, what you got of my photo?
All right. So we have this photo from Arizona, and I generally like this photo. Like, I think it's a really good photo.
Thanks, man.
But I think that when I look at this photo, I feel like it's like half of a photo. I feel like it's missing something. So we'll show what the photo is. Like I said, it's down in Arizona. And it's this little puddle of water, down here in all these cool rocks and stuff. I don't know if that's in focus or not. It looks like it's
It'll be
tracking
on
my
screen.
face, but it'll be on screen. But really cool photo. I really like the edit on this. I like the blues against kind of the white rocks and stuff. I did notice that there is a person in your photo right now.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Bro, I got an eagle eye for this kind of stuff.
Not looking hard enough. Oh, sure enough.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Probably Isabel.
It probably is Isabel. Isabel, shout out to you for sneaking yourself in my photo.
Yeah. I think both of us have now had somebody, Travis did that to me in this same location, and now Isabel to you. But so this photo, like I said, I like it. I really like the edit. I really like the, how you use this leading line here of this pool to go into this little reflection spot. But I feel like there needs to be something like, and maybe this is just, knowing what I know about this area. Like, I feel like this is the least interesting spot of this area, and I feel like this could have been like, I'm not quite sure how, but I feel like this pool just acts as a leading line to nothing. So that's why I feel like it's probably about half of a photo. So I feel like there's just not enough of interest up here. And obviously you can't just like make something appear, but I think in that case, you just shoot the photo different, So I think that that's why it's probably like almost a good photo, is because like the foundations are there. And this honestly, like it's a beautiful photo, it's a beautiful scene, but it's not enough to be like a great photo. So
yeah, and again, I'm gonna agree with like all of that. Like we were talking about, and you mentioned like it's knowing what this place is. Like this is the most uninteresting thing there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like I just was trying to shoot something different.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And
I do like this.
I saw the puddle and the shape. I'm like, oh, I could use this, but like it's tough because there's not much like on the other side of it. So
it kind of looks like like a teardrop from like
yeah,
kind of like when you're bullying me. And,
yeah, that's exactly what I thought too when I was shooting him. Obviously the sky in this one helps it. If there was no sky, that's
It'd
a tough.
nothing.
That's a tough photo.
Yeah.
But I generally agree. Like it's just there's not much to it. I'd like to think it's well done, at least edited and all that.
It is, yeah.
But the subject is just again not as interesting.
Yes.
It's just a little puddle and whatever. It's nothing I'm going to get hung up on. So
exactly. I think if there was like, if you had like a set of photos from this spot and you had
Sure.
all the really good ones or whatever, this could be a really good like supporting piece for that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. This is not a main piece.
Yes.
It's an accent piece.
Yes.
To go with other things. But
Exactly.
it's not one that like, oh, this is my photo for me. It's like just doesn't work.
Exactly. So but like I said, other than that, like I like it. But it's just like, oh, excuse me. It's just not quite there to be, like a great photo. So.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on. So
Okay.
I have one for you now, and the funny thing is, it's actually gonna be a lot of the same kind of criticisms in a way as we had for that one. And this photo is here. It'll be on screen. This is from a place in southern central Utah called the Swell, and this spot is actually a place where the highway runs right through it. I mean, it's not in this photo, but I mean, the road literally splits this really insane-looking cliff in two. And much like the last one, and I want to preface this by saying, too, I have darn near the same exact photo.
Yeah.
I mean, I think mine's a little further to the right still, but it's darn near the same photo. And so when I'm saying this, I say this about mine as well. There's a lot of potential in this spot, but like this just doesn't capture it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's hard because these rocks are massive.
Yeah, this is like a 8 or 9 shot pano.
Yeah, like you cannot get your drone high enough to really see it.
Yeah, no.
And it's far away from where at least we flew. And so it's just a very hard thing to shoot. But like knowing what this looks like in person, it's like, I know there's something better. And like, this just doesn't do it. But I think another aspect to get more, I guess, specific with this is it feels very right dominant. And I think the interesting thing that at least draws my eye is like the darker oranges on like the, I guess, right half on like the, almost the upper third line in these little peaks. Like that's where my eye gets to, and then it just kind of stops. And I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I think because it's so right dominant too, like I don't feel like I have space to explore. It helps a little bit with that line going back. Like that is a neat looking line, like the leading line of it going back to the horizon. But like there's just not anything interesting back there. And again, it doesn't help because it's pretty flat back there.
Yeah.
But like I feel like there's just a better way to capture this place. And this is not it.
Yes.
I mean, I know you have another photo that you like a lot more, and I like better than this one too.
Yeah.
but it's a hard place to shoot. Again, the edit and everything is great, but just kind of like the last one, I feel like there's just a lot more that I'm like, I'm wanting from this.
Yeah.
That I don't get.
Yeah.
And maybe it's different for someone who doesn't know this place. So that's maybe a fair counterpoint.
Yeah. I mean, so like when we went and shot this, you know, we were kind of basing this off of a shot. I don't know if you follow him. I share a lot of his stuff, but I think it's his Instagram name is like Marcus.afk or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of really incredible photos from this spot, and he shoots it better than anybody I've ever seen. But he's always getting, you know, really cool, unique stuff. But he has a photo very similar to this. But the way he shot his, these little orange spines are so much more prominent. You know, they're really what like draw you in.
And that's what I mean. Like, I feel like the subject is not right in this.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, it has to be displayed better.
Exactly.
And this just doesn't do it. And my photo's the same exact way. You know, we pushed our drones to like the limit to get these. And so like maybe we're not in the right place. Like it's a shot that like we should go back to redo.
Yeah.
To really perfect this shot. And so that's why I think it's a mid-level. Like there are those things like I don't like about it. You know, it's just like, it's okay, but there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, and that's why I like the one you referred to, you know, where you said there was the one that I like more. It's just turned around. I literally like kept my drone in the same spot and I just turned it, 180.
Yeah, and the thing about that one, if I can remember correctly, is like the little peak in that one is more prominent.
It's way you can see the whole structure.
Yeah,
So
like that's what makes that one a better photo. And so that's the general critique about this one. I think it's just kind of like you said about my Arizona one is there's just a lot more that could be had knowing the area.
Yeah.
And this is just not the photo again. It's more like an accent piece in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd have to say about that one.
Yeah, I like it and I agree with that. So
okay, we're gonna move on to what we thought was a phenomenal photo from each other.
yes.
And we wanted to go through this progression to kind of start with what we thought was a bad one, to kind of build from there, point out things that you could be doing in photos that would make it better, and then take that another step and see what we could do with it. But we are here now at the good ones.
Yeah.
So this should be fun.
Let me
We're going to reset our cameras real quick. We're trying to be fancy and do it while we're talking. It just didn't work. So we'll see what we can get here. All right, let's
we're
do
good.
it.
We're good.
Good photos.
All right. So this is what I would consider. This is what I would consider to be probably one of your best photos. I don't know, if not your best.
I was going to say, like, it's one that as soon as I posted, and actually I don't remember if you could pin post still when I posted this one.
Yeah.
But that one is I think it's my longest pinned post.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I know the 3. And it is like my best photo. I still think it is.
I think it is too.
I mean, I have a couple other ones that I do like, but they just don't come to this level, I think.
No, they don't. So this photo is here. We'll just show it. This is
on screen.
All right, yeah, but it'll be on screen so you can see a little bit better. But so this photo, Tokerville Falls.
Oh yeah.
Tokerville Falls, and I mean, I have a little bit of a personal connection to this photo.
Yeah.
This isn't the reason why I think it's a great photo, but I lived in Tokerville.
I'm just trying to,
So-
get at Chandler's heartstrings.
Exactly. Yeah, I lived in Tokerville for several years. So this, hits home, close to home. But the reason I think that this is a great photo is it just has everything I need, to sit and enjoy this photo. Like, it has a great composition. The colors are great. The edit's great. And the way that it was shot, we've talked about this before, but you shot this as an HDR for the first time.
Yeah. So I guess that's another interesting point too.
An HDR long exposure.
So it's a long exposure that is an HDR, and it was also the first time I ever did an HDR shot.
Yeah.
And
So
it turned out
it's-
to be my best photo.
Yeah. And so it's not only just like a very well composed and very well edited photo, it's also a very technical photo. So there's a lot going on to be able to capture this the way that you did. So I think the colors are all very well balanced, a lot more subdued blues and oranges, and they work really well together. You weren't going for like obviously an orange and teal kind of look, but oranges and blues work very well together, and they're very pleasing. And I think you captured that very, very well in this photo. The exposure on the water is great. I think that the two trees at the very top, they create something to kind of like lead your eye, not totally out of the frame, but they create just a little extra interest point at the top of that. And yeah, I think it's great. So
Yeah. So I guess first things first, I'd like to thank our friend Austin Height, because he's the one that brought me back to this spot. And that was a little treacherous road that day. I mean, it was gnarly.
Yeah.
But we made it. We camped there overnight and got up the next morning. And I'm happy that this shot turned out the way it did. I mean, it was the photo that was the background on my phone for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I think about getting this shot, and had I not done an HDR, the sky would be blown out, because I have other ones where, I tried taking just in a single shot. There's no sky in it. So like the HDR gives it just enough in the sky to make it interesting.
Yes.
But not like overkill.
Exactly.
I didn't need an amazing sunrise.
No. Yeah.
I just needed some kind of texture, and I got that in there.
And I feel like if you had some kind of a great,
it would take away from the photo,
I think it would actually.
because the focus would go up to the sky.
Yes.
And not on the waterfall.
Yes. I agree.
And so because there's not more there, it actually adds to the photo, which is an important point. Like we said before, you don't always need the epic sky.
Yeah.
You just need the right sky. And there's a difference there. And this one has the right sky. Obviously, the two trees in there, they're just there. I couldn't do anything with. But we just got down to a point where I thought it was a good frame. The HDR helps, I think, with a little bit of the definition in the rocks, too. And frankly, I'm amazed that like the water looks the way it does, being a long exposure and HDR.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It turned out really great. And I didn't really know what I was doing with the HDR then. I just gave it my best shot. But yeah, I mean, I remember when I got that photo and edited it for the first time, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I took that photo.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
And it's just like, it's one of those, like, I just can't help but stare at. And those are the photos that you should chase.
Yeah.
The ones that you can't help but look away from.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like the ones that you're truly proud of. So I do think it's cool too that you were able to get a long exposure and still keep a lot of that texture in the water in the bottom.
I don't know how that happened. I honestly don't.
That's crazy.
Like,
how long? Do you remember how long your shutter speed was?
I don't know, and this is not going to tell me because this is the composite. So it says 1/30. So maybe that's what it was.
No, you usually don't need that slow of a shutter speed. So for waterfall,
but like the thing is, I didn't take that like bang bang bang. It was like bang. Okay, change my settings. A minute later, bang. Minute later, get the third one, bang.
Did you use the auto HDR thing in Lightroom, or did you go into Photoshop and actually like brush
auto HDR?
Auto HDR
in Lightroom, yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't have to work for that, but I love this photo. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. Like I said, I think it's probably. I mean, besides the photos you've taken of me, I think it's your best photo.
I am the best Chandler photographer.
Yes, you are.
So every time we go out, I get another profile picture for you.
Yeah, pretty much can swap them on the weekly at this point.
Yeah.
So
okay, we're gonna get to the last photo, and this one's yours. And ironically enough, it is also a long exposure HDR waterfall shot.
Yeah. What are the odds?
It's funny that we just happen to pick those.
Yeah.
So if you're listening out there, maybe you need to try more long exposure HDR waterfall shots, and you're gonna get banger photos. It's just the way it is. But this photo also has a fun story to it, and I'm going to tell it because I tell it right.
Yeah.
But this photo is of a waterfall we found in Colorado on a trip out there with our good friends Kevin and Galena. They showed us where this was, and we actually kind of got lost a little bit on the hike trying to find it.
Yeah.
But
a little treacherous.
Me and my amazing drone piloting skills. I shot up above all the trees and found it from
I
above,
forgot about that actually.
and we just found a path out there. So
yeah.
it was good. But this photo, honestly, it might be my favorite photo of yours, and it's partly because of the memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's partly because of the edit. And it's partly because I have a photo of here that I really like as well. It's edited differently, and so it's lighter. It's a lighter green, almost yellowish green, and not the way yours is.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw this one, I was like, I didn't even want to post mine now, and I don't think I have posted mine
I
yet.
don't know if you have either.
Because I love this one so much. You know, the edit on this one is just, I think, incredible, and it's more like the new style that you work with, as opposed to like the stuff you were doing a long time ago. I just think it's money. You know, the contrast in it, the water flowing is perfect. The slight vignette around all the edges, which I will take credit for a little bit because, you know, I'm the one that kind of talked you into that a little bit.
Got me into it, yeah.
I was not for this shot, but
Yeah.
like a long time ago.
But no, yeah, I was not into vignettes
Yeah.
until I met you.
Just a
so.
slight little
Yeah.
vignette, because I think it adds a little bit to it. Like
It does.
It pulls you into the middle and up through the canyon, and it
Yeah.
just looks. It's just a perfect shot.
And not like going crazy on, you know, not taking the vignette slider, but like being meticulous and being
Yes.
like
It's a-
purposeful with your vignette.
Yes.
So
I mean, it's a very good example of how to use a vignette properly. The only downside to this, and it's just there's nothing we could do about it, is that the sky right above the waterfall is white. But honestly, I don't think I like the last photo. It almost is in a way a perfect sky for this, because you don't want too much up there, and so that little slot would be busy.
yeah. And I waited for that on purpose.
Yeah,
And you can talk about
Yeah, it is. It's very fitting for the shot. And you know, from the angle, you can't see like the trees that were up there, so like you can't see over that hill. But that doesn't matter for the photo. But yeah, so to your point, you waited for the right sky, the right moment to shoot this, which is also why this looks incredible. You know, when you're taking photos out there, you can't just take a photo any time of the day and hope to get the right shot. You have to get the right moment. And that's what you did with this one.
Yeah, and I pissed you off.
And
to get it.
and you did that. You found that right moment at the expense of all of our photos.
Yep.
Because if you know, looking into this photo, you see the little creek that runs up to the waterfall. I don't know how far it was, but it runs quite a ways, and you can walk basically all the way up it. Well, from where I was, and Kevin and Galena were by me as well.
Actually, Galena did it first. Galena walked. I have several photos with Galena up past this spot.
Okay.
Where she's in. So
Well, she did not ruin the perfect moment.
No.
The way you did. So you walked up in front of all of us, and basically sat in the middle of the river for this.
Yep.
And that perfect moment came, and you were getting the best photo I think you've ever gotten. And we're sitting behind, just thinking, okay, well, I guess we'll wait. And so I did
maybe
not.
you guys kept yelling at me, and I was like, just 1 second.
We did not get to shoot it in that moment. And we stayed a little while after that, waiting for another one of those clouds to just cover the sun for it, but never came.
Yeah, and I'm not really that sorry.
Yeah.
So
So you know, I don't think I've forgiven you for that yet.
you have to grasp the opportunity.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think the way this one's edited is just, it's incredible. And it makes me look at mine like, yeah, mine sucks now. Like, I don't even want to look at it. The blues, the greens, the rock in this, the colors are perfect. The tones, everything is, I mean, I don't know how I would improve this photo. I just don't. And that's what makes it a phenomenal photo. So, and I'm glad we could end this episode on this one, because I think this one, of all the ones we did, and even my good one, this one deserves to be the last one, the highlighted one you go out on top with.
Well, I like
You
hearing
know?
you say that.
So, yeah, it's the last time I'm gonna give you a compliment publicly. So, but I think this was a good exercise.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing. A lot of times, I think you edit photos, and this is kind of what Instagram is for a little bit, to get some kind of criticism, good or bad. I think a lot of times on social media, it's kind of fake good criticism. And we're all guilty of that. But going through your photos with a truly critical eye is important to your growth.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, again, a good example is you yourself with how far you've come in such a short time. You know, it's you being critical with it, but like, because we live with each other and, you know, we're always editing stuff.
Yeah.
We just very easily be like, hey, what do you think of this?
Yeah. I think,
And we don't necessarily hold back. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
going to just trash every single one of your photos, but like, this sucks.
Even though you do.
Even though I do say that, but you know it's a joke.
yeah.
But getting that kind of feedback, because I give you honest feedback. I'm like, the colors look off here. Composition I don't like.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like I really think that, and not to not to give you too much of a pat on the back, but I really think that my growth in photography really started taking off exponentially when we started living together.
Yeah.
You know, and like we both were working on this stuff at the exact same time, you know, in the same room together, and then we can kind of bounce that feedback off of each other. I think that's probably helped both of us, you know, being able to do that.
Yeah.
So-
And a lot of that is you know, someone checking the colors is a big one.
Yeah.
And I think the tones as well, like especially darker areas. But yeah, I think it's important for people to realize like the quickest way you're going to grow is to really seek true feedback. And this is where I think, not to, you know, get into a topic that's really deserving of its own episode, where social media is not the place for that.
No.
Because we just, you know, say, oh, that's fire. That's amazing.
It's such a banger, bro.
Oh, you're so good.
Yeah. You're amazing.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, it's fake.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I honestly don't care if people are commenting on my stuff at all. It's like, it doesn't mean much to me because half the time it's just, you know, garbage.
Yeah.
But you find people like, you know, we have each other for this. We have other people in our tighter knit circles that we do value their opinion on stuff. You know, our group chat, we'll use this, you know, function a little bit just to see what other people think about it before you post it. Because it's not about, you don't have to necessarily post it to get the feedback. You can find a couple private people, be like, hey, what do you think about this? Because then you can go tweak it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you learn something from now and then you're going to apply that in other photos. And so it's just, it's a very quick way to growth.
It is, yeah. And that's something that I try to do in my approach to social media. And when it comes to like interacting with other people, I try to be really intentional on when I'm commenting on things and when I'm sharing things and stuff. Like, for example, I shared a photo from Stephen Shazi today. We both love
He's
Shazi.
incredible.
He's so good.
Go check out his stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
At Stephen Shazi or Stephen.Shazi, something like that. But yeah, he's phenomenal. And I shared a thing on my story from him today. And I was like, Shazi's quickly become one of my favorite photographers. And I'm not just like BSing that. Like, I really mean that. That's what I mean when I try to say when I try to say that I'm intentional on social media, is like I'm not doing it just to like put fluff out there and just to stroke people's egos.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of times when I comment on stuff, I try to make it a little joke.
yeah.
Not like, oh, fire photo.
Yeah.
No, it's meaningless. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a little fun.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to do.
Or like I try to, make a comment about how, I really like the colors. I love the competition, the composition.
Yeah.
So
But if you're competition, you're going down.
yeah, exactly.
But
Like
yeah,
that photo challenge that we did.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm winning that.
Well, I think by the time this episode comes out, that might be done.
Yeah, that's true. We'll know by then.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I think that's a good wrap to this episode.
Yeah.
What we would like to do, do this more often. I think it'd be fun. But we'd also like to include everyone at home who's listening and watching on this kind of an episode. So if you want to submit your own photos, we would love to go through them and find ones that are good or bad or in the middle and kind of critique them a little bit. Not saying we're like the absolute experts.
No,
But,
yeah.
If you want that honest feedback, we'll give it to you.
We'll give it to you. Yeah.
I mean, Chandler knows I will give it to you.
Yep, and I will too. So
And so we'd love to have you send us stuff. Feel free to, I guess, maybe DM the Instagram page at Real Bushwhackers if you have a photo you want us to go through. If you would like to email it to us, I suppose you could also do that.
yeah, our email's on the Instagram page.
Yeah,
So
it's realbushwhackers@gmail.com. Feel free to send a photo there. We would love to go through them, and if we get enough to make a good episode, we will gladly do that.
Yeah.
We want to involve you guys in the creation of a lot of our content, and again, a big thing for us is building community, and that's going to be a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have photos you want us to go through, send them to us. We'll gladly take a look at them, give you some feedback, and maybe you make a video.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be cool.
So, all right. Well, if you're watching or listening at home, make sure you subscribe to this channel, Real Bushwhack, or it's just Bushwhackers on
Just
YouTube.
Bushwhackers, yeah.
And make sure you like this video as well. There will be more video content to come. So please stay tuned and check back in. Deuces.
Bye.
See you.